Hi, welcome to Family Sense. Family Sense is dedicated to equipping every man, every woman, every husband, every wife with practical wisdom on family and marriage, especially in these toughest times. This is a production of No Regrets Communication, a division of Hope Education Network. Should you have any questions or need any information, please feel free to contact us on 0772 518 554. You can also contact us on 0754 734 738. You can also email us on noregrets@counselor.com. Right now, join in for insights from today's session. God bless you.
We focused on what? Work. And that work came with system of work. That has been the theme this year. And when we say system, we told ourselves simple steps that Mrs. Kayondo is going to lead us into next.
My name is Agnes Kayondo. We have been looking at building a system of work. We are saying that a system, these are the simple steps following one after another, which a person does in order to fulfill a task. And that work are the actions done to satisfy needs of people. Work is about meeting a need. So the actions we do to satisfy a particular need, whether it's to satisfy someone's hunger, whether it's to meet a health need, whether it's to meet a need for managing something, it is the actions we do in order to satisfy someone's need. And so when we bring it together, the system of work are the simple steps, one following one another, that a person does to satisfy the needs of people. And over this year, we have been going over this. And we were telling ourselves that why is a system of work important? And we are saying when we don't have a system of work, when you get up and rush into doing something, what you are doing will be disorganized. Things are done anyhow. They are done anytime. There is no balance in it. Everything becomes expensive because there is no order to the work. Costs increase, and it's hard to sustain the work without the person who initiated it. We have seen cases or businesses where the person who started it, once they fall sick or die, no one else can understand how they do it. No one else can even start to do what they have been doing because it was in their head. Somehow they knew how to start their day, but they never organized it for themselves or even enough to explain it to anyone else. And with a system of work, we apply reasonable effort because it's clear. Start with A, go to B. So reasonable effort is applied. Tasks are understood clearly, what needs to be done. Tasks can be well planned. And we can even acquire more knowledge on what we find that we are unable to do well. And through the experience of doing the work over time, we begin to get experience on how to save time, how to save resources, how to do it better. And that is the value of the system of work that we have been talking about. Mr. and Mrs. Okello, if I gave you some 5 minutes, are you able to share with us what has system of work meant for you? What you were doing before, how it has helped you. So you're welcome.
Okay, God is good.
All the time.
And all the time. So my name's Alex and she is Okelo is what we share. We come from Gayaza, so we run a pharmacy called St. Eliza Healthcare Services. We were invited in this ministry by a friend of ours called James, and for him, he was concerned of the family. So we came actually looking at the family, and actually we came when they were talking about family order. And that was our first thing which made us get stuck here, because we were coming from a family which is, and then somehow we loved it. But along the way, we started now going into system of work. And then when we came here, we really had a struggle within us, so many struggles. Number one is that we were running a business, but which had spiritual parents who had sponsored the business. And so when we want to grow to another level, our spiritual parents say, you cannot go there. You are still young. You don't know the things. And so somehow it was stressing the two of us, and especially for her, because she is passionate about touching people, treating. But a pharmacy, you are just selling things. So that was one thing. And so when we said, I think let's go and talk to Mr. Mwesik about this and find out what would he think about. And it was a blessing to really share through and getting comfort and to say, okay, we children also grow, okay? And when they grow, they can actually bear much fruit. And so we got courage to be able to share with our spiritual parents. And it was so easy. But before that, we were really struggling to how do we craft the thing together. So in the end, now we, together with the team, we are now going to register a company different, and the spiritual parents are also happy about it, and we are also happy about it. And all this was because, comfort of what Mr. Mesiga says, truthfulness, openness, and ensuring things are moving on well. I know I talk a lot. So now the other issue really which we were struggling with was managing staff. And then for us, we came from a very spiritual background, and we say all staff must be included in the discussion. They must handle the money. They must do everything. So now in the discussions, it was asked us, now, who are the owners of the business? And why don't you organize and see? I think there were those things we were told, who is the handsman, who is the manager, who is the what. And when we now sat together again, I think when I was here, I had not yet understood, but when we sat together, then we were able to understand. And from that time, I think now staff are beginning to understand, well, where to come, okay? And then where there is where. So the work is actually getting very organized. I think even last week we had a meeting with the staff, and we were giving them clear roles. And they were all getting their roles, and things are becoming better and better. And since I talk a lot, allow her to say a few words before I spend the whole day.
The 5 minutes are already done. Well, another thing that we have learned this year that has carried us through, as he said, we do ministry. So for us, work was work and ministry was ministry. So if I'm at church, I'm in ministry. If I'm at work, I'm at work. And I love both. So it was brought to a realization that actually what we are doing is a ministry. And we are into the hospitality ministry. And it was clear to us because it was asked 1,000 times, what is a hospital? I know even if I'm to ask, you'll have different definitions. But to us, our hospital is a different hospital because we are doing the hospitality in the hospital. And it's not the other hospital like it is, and you go inside there and you find it is a different thing that is inside there, that it actually brutalizes the hospitality word, if I may say. And then another thing also, it has enabled us. One, we had also kind of tension. We thought we are operating in negatives. We are not so much understanding our financials very well. But together with the systems that we are put in place together with the family sense, we utilized the 2 hours that was given to all of us at the start of the year. For us, we have really tried to utilize it. I don't know how. No, it was meant to be 2 hours every month or something. We have actually used too much. Maybe to some of you who have not used, probably we are using your time. Because for us, after here, we still engage more. So it has helped us to better understand our business and ease the tension that we had, thinking maybe we are operating in negatives. But also, now that I'm not there, I'm not worried. I just need to reach there. Like this morning, I was there. Hello, hello, like people know what to do. I don't have to be in place at all the time, and I don't have to get 1,000 calls. Hey, msao kati wali wono supplier. Hey, kakati chino tukoze tutia. It's like they don't have to call me all the time and ask, how can we do this? How can we handle so and so? How do we do with this? What do we do? And all that. Like, I know who is, when I leave, if I leave a staff behind, I know this one is a handman. I don't have to assign them very many responsibilities. They are good at this and this, that they will handle. So if they don't handle a particular thing, I'm not stressed, because I know that is not them. Probably I need to train them a little bit more. And I'm no longer having the negative feelings about the managers on the team. We had team members who are managers, and they are men. He's there sometimes, but not all the times. And when a man has the inbuilt ability of a manager in him, they can want to overtake you even when you are the managing director. I don't know whether you get what I mean. They are employees, but they make decisions, and it's like they are driving you. Yeah, because probably you have not so much told them what to do, and in them they know what to do. In your own company. So somehow, yeah. But I no longer have negative feelings about them. I know how to handle them. I know this one I'm talking to is a manager in them. That is inbuilt in them. And it doesn't have to be me on top of everything. No. I know where I belong, and where I can perform best in my own company. I know the leaders who are there, and I allow them to lead where I know that they are strong in that area.
I cannot miss this. So recently we've been working on a business plan. We call it Businary here, a Businary plan. It was amazing for me. We had a plan which was around a few pages. But the way this plan has evolved, actually when Mr. Mesuga sent it to us, I first looked at it. I'm like, is this what we sent? Oh. Like it looked new, very fresh, and very, okay. What I want to say, we had a business plan, which is simply for when somebody says, do you have a business plan? Then you present that one. Do you implement it? Zero. Do you? That's the kind of issues when we're talking about the system of work, is what in these meetings they have emphasized. A business plan must be a plan that you implement. Ours was for maybe resource mobilization and so on, when people bring, and then actually they would actually, I sent it to Stanbic Bank and they were saying, okay, we know this is just for money, but you don't utilize this. We know it. So, but this other one which we are making, and I know, it's a day-to-day thing. It was my first time to see a business plan which has scriptures, which are alive. You read and you're like, did I ever read this thing in the Bible? It's like, by the way, I try to do ministry and try to speak to schools and everything. But there are some scriptures in that Bible, in that what now I'm calling it Bible, in that business plan, which is like I have never read in the what? In the Bible. So I think really I want to thank Mr. Mesuga and the team, one, for giving us the time to meet and also to be committed to this. We were challenged a lot, 100%, because we sometimes think we run for help and then they actually help, and then sometimes we even be late, and these people are very committed to this work. So we became actually very guilty one time when we reached late. We almost said, okay, now we can't come. But let's give them a hand clap for the commitment to this work. God bless you. We can talk for the whole day, I am very sure. But allow us to stop here.
Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Okello. Remember, we said we are doing visionaries. We are building good work that will last the test of generations, that the test of time. Good work that meets needs very, very well. And that is why we are belaboring this topic of system of work. Every piece of work, whether it's a church, it must have a system, a well thought out system. And that is the process we have been going through with Mr. and Mrs. Okello that they are testifying to, concerning their work. Yes, they are saying, what need? What need is it that you want to meet? Well, there are 1,000 people meeting this need, but how exactly are you going to meet this need in a way that is very, very good? So you define that process. And then, okay, this is the need you want to meet. So what are the tasks? You can see arranging tasks. That is the system of work. What are these tasks that you must do in order to meet these needs? Not mixing them up, not piling them together, but one by one. What are the critical things you have to deliver in order for you to meet this need? How are you going to do them one by one? So you arrange the tasks. Remember, arranging tasks, we said sequencing is very important. What happens first? What happens next? What happens third? And timing. At when should you do a particular task, on how, and when shouldn't you do it? Timing, we said, is very important. So after arranging your tasks, each task needs certain resources in order to be implemented. It needs people. It needs particular inputs. It needs money. So what are these resources that are needed for each particular task? Counting the cost of work. I remember when we were deploying resources, we emphasized the counting the cost of doing work. If you do not count the cost of delivering the work, you will fail. Remember that you're engaged in a family sense gathering, which is dedicated to equipping every man, every woman, every husband, every wife with practical wisdom on family and marriage. I hope you're enjoying yourself. If you do not count the cost of delivering the work, you will fail. You will either be wasteful, you will fall short, you will end up borrowing, And then the other one, after deploying resources, deploying people. God said it's not good for Adam to be alone. He needed helpers in order to fulfill his responsibility. No business can stand on its own, even though sometimes we like to say, I am self-made. The thing is, no one is self-made. Everyone needs someone. And remember, we mentioned suitable helpers, identifying a suitable helper. Not everyone is suitable for that thing that you are doing. Even in a family as it starts, it has to be a suitable helper. God gives a suitable helper. And how do we know that this helper is suitable? Remember, we mentioned the issue of competence and character. And we said competence, someone having the right knowledge, the right expertise, having the wisdom for the work. And on character, the fear of God, the issues of faithfulness, being hardworking, being diligent. Maybe someone who can sit in one. these vary depending on the job. Remember, we looked at a nursery teacher. What is the right character for a nursery teacher? Huh? And what is the character for an accountant? You may get a talkative, active person who can't sit for even 10 minutes, and you want them to sit in a corner for hours working out figures. They cannot do it. So identify, who do you need? What is the right set of competencies and character for this job that I need done? So deploying people to work involves that. And we said, where do you get these suitable helpers? We said you can get them either from within the family or from outside. But wherever you get them, and especially from within the family, we emphasize the issue of setting standards. That we are working to this standard. And the standards first apply to us ourselves. You first look to yourself. You yourself have to first meet that standard before you extend it to others. Sometimes we want other people to be early on work, to keep time, to account for resources, and yet us ourselves who put the label business owner, or even head of family, or heads of family, we do not want to apply those standards to ourselves. But we said the standards first start with you, and then you extend them to others. Justly, no favoritism. Even if it's you're the husband, the executive director, and the wife, if she doesn't do it, the same way you handle those who don't do is the same standard you apply. Same standard to everyone. And we realize that sometimes such things are not easy. That is why some people say, let her go and work somewhere else and me somewhere else for peace, and we will meet at the end of the day. And share stories. So those are the things that we are looking at in the system of work. Arranging tasks, deploying resources, deploying people, and then giving account. The earlier sessions of the year, we've covered the first three. Today we want to talk about giving account. So today we are moving to that one, giving account. And before we start accountability, I just want to ask a question here. When someone says accountability, what comes to your mind?
Talk about the money which I was given. To talk about the money I was given, what did I do with it? Is there a balance or it's not there?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So is there a different perspective? Someone else that wants to add to that? Yes, behind there.
Thank you so much. I also have an experience about giving account.
Yes.
Where I work is feedback. When I take students to a trip,
Yes.
sometimes you can even draft the feedback.
Before you go.
And then the honesty, again, we read the scripture. So the feedback we give in form of a report.
Yes.
Because it has to be even filed. The bursar needs a copy, the head needs a copy, and maybe the patron.
Yes.
So when you're giving account in that field of where I teach, is a report. What transpired, where did you go? And of course it implies things of finance. So as there, it's always a report. It may not even include the figures sometimes, but where did you take the students? What did you do there? And any lessons, any challenges?
Yes.
It's feedback.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
For me, I say accountability refers to, for any task you are given, you have to give feedback concerning from the very small tasks somebody is given at home and in our places of work, in each and everything that you do.
Yes.
You are held accountable.
Accountable.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. I remember the first time that I was introduced. It's amazing because we give accountability all through our lives, but somehow it doesn't strike. For me, the first time that word started striking in my mind is when I had just finished university and I got my first job. It was almost immediately. So when I got to that job, I was told you're a socioeconomist research assistant. Never mind that I had no idea what it meant, but that was my job. And the moment I got there, they told me on Monday you're going to accompany a scientist to Masindi who is introducing a technology, and you're the social scientist for accompanying him. Okay, I went and packed my bag. But part of it is they give you money. So I was given this money to pay for the fuel, for my per diem, and to manage field expenses. So when I came back, I knew I had to write a report, what happened, although I didn't know what a socioeconomist was. And then the other most important one I had to account, to report, you gave me this amount of money for this, this is what it did, these are the receipts. I sat down and did it very well, put my things in a file, and started walking to the accounts office. And as I was going, someone stopped me, an older staff member, and said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm taking my accountability to the finance office." And he said, "Let me see." So he sat down and laughed. And he said, "Are you out of your mind? Bring it." So he took it away from me for a whole weekend. And on Monday, he gave it back to me. He said, "This is my money. This is yours. Take this to the accounts office." Do you think those people you're giving the money back are going to put it back? Don't do such things again. And so that was my initiation into accountability. You know, we understand it as report for the money. Why? Because we need more money. And you can see even in our government offices, when it's the end of, we will not get more money if we don't account for this. Never mind how you account. The thing is just give them. And so that is the first lesson I got on accountability. So what is accountability? For us, we are here to go back to the truth. Okay? So we are saying that accountability is an obligation to own up. It is a what? An obligation to own up. An obligation. That is the first word that I want us to focus on. It is an obligation. Something you do because you have to. It is your duty to do it. It is your duty to deal with that matter. So it is an obligation. Many times we take accountability as something which you can do if you feel like, or maybe you just do because you're forced, okay? But especially when people are the owners of businesses or the bosses, then they feel it's for others, not for them. But here we are saying it is a duty. It is a duty to own up. You have to do it willingly or unwillingly. You have to, you can choose to own up willingly, you can choose to own up unwillingly, but it must be done. It must be done. And you see, in general, we have a tendency of wanting to own up to things which are good. And the moment things are not so good, then we are unwilling to own up. We are unwilling to become accountable. And we can take this all the way back even maybe to Adam and Eve. Because the Bible says God used to come in the evening and, spend time with them. Possibly before things went wrong, they were eager to come and tell him how the day went. But the day things went wrong, the day things were not so good, there was a reluctance. And even when God demanded, what have you been up to? What happened? This woman, this one, the one you gave me, you are the one. Everything was good when it was us, but you brought her, this woman, And when God went to Eve to ask, what happened? Eve said, the snake. It was that one. The snake looked left and right and there was no one else to blame, So we don't want to own up when things are not so good. And we want to own up even what is not ours when they are good. Even if you didn't really contribute or play a part, somehow you want to own it, when things. And this happens in our families. We can see it in our families. I'm this way because of my parents. If it hadn't been for these parents of mine, if it hadn't been for my upbringing, I wouldn't be like this, Or these children, if only they would listen, their place wouldn't be like this. I have a difficult boss. The man doesn't listen. The boss is the reason things are the way they are. You have not led a church like mine. Those people are big-headed. You preach and it's like the message is, somehow when things are not so good, my teammates, you work hard, but those teammates just let you down. Somehow we really have fingers to point everywhere except to ourselves. But we are coming back to the truth. And we are saying that we are all obliged to own up. Family Sense is on a mission of teaching God's truth for reforming marriages and building families throughout the nation. Stability of our nation can only be realized with well-founded families and marriages. We therefore invite you to engage in Family Sense gatherings. Should you have any questions or need specific assistance, please feel free to contact us on 0772 518 554 or 0754 73 4738. You can also email us on noregrets@counselor.com. God bless you. We look forward to seeing you next time.